I'd simply missed 108 calls from the CEO, my childhood best friend, Amelia, who has struggled with attachment issues since she was little. She probably thought I'd abandoned her again, so she'd locked herself in the library, grabbed a small knife, and started self-harming. When I finally saw the messages and rushed back to the mansion, I found a group of people standing anxiously in the foyer. I looked towards the head butler with concern. "How is Amelia doing?" The butler sighed. "Miss Amelia locked herself in the library after dinner was prepared. I've called her repeatedly, but there's been no response." Hearing this, I grew even more worried. I went to go find someone to break the door down. The butler was about to leave to find someone, but I stopped him. "Wait. Breaking down the door could hurt Amelia. Is there a spare key to the library?" The butler quickly replied, "Yes, I'll get it right away." He hurried off and returned with the spare key. I grabbed it and raced upstairs to the library door. First, I knocked gently. "Amelia, honey, can you open the door?" But only silence answered me. No response, and the door remained shut. Inside, the knife in Amelia's hand had already pierced her chest. She thought she heard my voice calling her name, but she immediately shook her head, dismissing the thought. How could that be? Michael is gone. He'd never come looking for me. Just as Amelia gripped the knife tighter, preparing to drive it deeper, the library door suddenly swung open with a click. It was me. I'd used the spare key. Light from the hallway flooded the room. I scanned the messy space anxiously, desperately searching for Amelia. When I saw her, my pupils constricted, and my heart seemed to stop. Amelia was standing near the window, and Amelia's friends, Jessica and Olivia, were behind me. They clearly saw what was happening. Jessica and Olivia didn't dare make a wrong move. They could only rely on me to resolve this. Amelia looked up at the doorway, her beautiful eyes vacant, as if it was all a hallucination. A pale smile stretched across her face. It's Michael, isn't it? You're a fake. I saw the knife in her hand, held against her heart. Blood had already stained her white dress. Afraid that any sudden movement would startle her, I didn't dare approach too quickly. I could only step closer slowly, stopping about 6 feet away. Amelia, look at me. I'm really here. Can you put the knife down, please? Amelia stared at me in disbelief, terrified that I would vanish at any second. She spoke in a childish voice, No. Michael doesn't want me anymore. Seeing Amelia like this, I was heartbroken. Amelia, that's not true. Look, I'm right here, aren't I? I miss you so much. Can I hug you? Amelia stared at me, her mind in turmoil. She was so afraid that what she was seeing was an illusion. After confirming that this wasn't a dream, Amelia lowered her head, looked at the knife in her hand, pulled it out, and threw it aside. Seeing Amelia finally drop the knife, I rushed forward and pulled her into a tight embrace. Amelia raised her hands, wanting to hug me back, but when she saw that her hands were covered in blood, she hesitated. My hands are dirty. Let me wash them first. I held her tightly, refusing to let go. It doesn't matter. You're not dirty. I couldn't risk letting go. I was afraid she would do something foolish again. Maybe sensing that I was truly there for her, Amelia gradually relaxed. The next moment, she swayed and lost consciousness. I held her, shaking her gently. Amelia! Wake up! Jessica and Olivia, who had been waiting at the door, rushed in when they heard my voice. Jessica, being a doctor, instinctively grabbed her medical kit and began to examine Amelia. I stood beside them, my eyes fixed on Amelia. How is she? When will she wake up? How deep is the wound? Will it hurt a lot when she wakes up? Hearing my rapid-fire questions, Jessica was a little surprised by my concern for Amelia. She had always thought that I always avoided Amelia, and only Amelia was head over heels for Michael. Jessica looked at me and answered, The wound isn't too bad, but the wound to her heart is deep. Let her sleep for now. She'll probably wake up tomorrow. I looked at Amelia's peaceful face and nodded. Jessica left me her number. Call me if there's any problem. After saying that, she and Olivia quietly left, closing the door behind them. I pulled the blanket over Amelia, took her uninjured hand, and sat by the bed, silently watching her. The girl's eyes were closed, and her lips were pale and bloodless. Amelia was always so fair-skinned, she looked like a porcelain doll right now. I held her hand and said softly, "Please wake up and talk to me. You were fine during the day, why did things have to turn out this way?" Amelia remained asleep, unresponsive. I remembered how Amelia was in my past life. Closes her eyes, unresponsive even after calling her multiple times, I felt like my heart was cut into pieces. I, then, collapsed at the bedside and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I vaguely heard someone calling my name. I immediately woke up and checked on Amelia. She was covered in sweat, her face flushed, and she was frowning, muttering, "Michael. Michael, don't go." She was very uneasy. I quickly soothed her, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you." As I said that, I wiped the sweat from her forehead and checked her temperature. As I expected, she had a fever. I took a thermometer and measured her temperature. It read 103 degrees Fahrenheit. I took the medicine that Jessica had left on the nightstand, pried Amelia's mouth open, and placed the pills inside. Then I grabbed a glass of water and tried to get Amelia to swallow the pills. But Amelia frowned. No matter what I said, she refused to open her mouth. The pills remained in her mouth, and she wouldn't drink the water. This made me anxious. I first took a large gulp of water from the glass, pursed my lips, and gently raised Amelia's face, mouth to mouth, trying to feed her the water. Amelia, delirious with fever, seemed to have found a spring of water and bit my lip, sucking hard. Amelia's actions may have been too strong, tearing a piece of flesh from my lip. Fortunately, after a while Amelia let go. Feeling Amelia's swallowing motion, I breathed a sigh of relief. She had finally swallowed the pills. I took another sip of water as before and fed it to Amelia. I casually wiped the corner of my mouth. "Amelia, are you doing this on purpose? Did you have to make me feed you like this? And you bit me too. Oh, poor me, my first kiss is gone like that. Were you deliberately trying to scare me?" After tucking Amelia into bed, I went to get a basin of warm water to wipe her down. She had sweated so much. This girl was such a clean person that she would definitely not be able to sleep comfortably. Afraid of touching her wound, I was extra careful throughout the process. I stayed by the bed, watching over Amelia, occasionally checking her temperature. As the sky gradually brightened, I don't know how many times I checked the temperature, Amelia's fever finally returned to normal. My tense nerves gradually relaxed. Feeling my eyelids growing heavy, I really couldn't hold on any longer. I rested my head on Amelia's hand and fell asleep. Amelia woke up feeling something heavy on her hand. Looking over, she saw me sleeping soundly beside her. My small mouth was smacking twice, as if dreaming of something delicious. Seeing me like this, Amelia thought I looked adorable. She gently curved her lips. Knowing I wouldn't be comfortable sleeping this way, she gently pulled her hand out, carefully lifting me onto the bed. I had been awake all night and was really tired and sleepy, completely unaware that I had been moved to the bed and showed no signs of waking up. Amelia also turned back to lie on the bed, lying on her side, watching me sleep with her eyes closed, her voice very distressed. "It's all my fault, making Michael so tired." Noticing that my lip was torn and had scabbed over, Amelia gently touched it. "Why is your lip injured? Did Michael bite it himself?" I felt a strong gaze falling on me, slowly opened my eyes, and saw Amelia looking at me. After looking at each other for a moment, I reacted quickly, sat up on the bed, and excitedly looked at Amelia. "Amelia, you're awake. How long have you been awake? Why didn't you call me?" Amelia smiled gently. "I just woke up a little while ago." She asked a little confused, "Why are you sleeping on the bed?" Amelia blinked innocently, "I just pulled you up." I scratched my head embarrassedly, I was sleeping too soundly, I didn't know anything. "You said you pulled me onto the bed?" Amelia nodded honestly, "That's right, Michael." "What's wrong?" I frowned. You still have an injury, how could you use your arm? After saying that, I began to peel off Amelia's clothes, wanting to check if her wound had been ripped open. What if the wound started bleeding again? Amelia held my hand, stopping me from taking off her clothes. It's okay, I know my limits. Knowing I wouldn't be at ease if I didn't see it with my own eyes, Amelia could only lift her close for me to see. I leaned closer, carefully checking Amelia's wound. I could breathe a sigh of relief at the sight that there was no new blood coming out. Because the distance was too close, Amelia felt my breath on her skin, the edge of her ear slightly red. She coughed lightly and pulled down her clothes. Are you relieved now? I smiled and said, it's good that you're okay. Amelia, you must be hungry, right? Wait for me, I'll go downstairs and find some food to bring up. Amelia didn't want me to leave her sight for a minute. She pulled me, not letting me go. I smiled helplessly. Listen to me, I'll be right back. Amelia was completely coaxed by me and obediently nodded before letting go. I just reached the door, ready to open it, when I heard a knock. Opening the door, I saw Jessica and Olivia. They came to ask about Amelia's condition. I let them in. She's awake. I'm going downstairs to find some food for her. Jessica replaced Amelia's dressing, instructing worriedly that the wound shouldn't get wet and she shouldn't use any strength. Amelia nodded and said, thank you, then didn't say anything else. Jessica was used to seeing Amelia this way. Seeing Amelia was okay, she smiled and said, then I'll leave first. I just carried the porridge to the door of the room when I saw Jessica preparing to leave. I said hello. Olivia saw that Jessica had left and, not wanting to stand there, quickly said, Miss Amelia, take care of yourself. I'll head out, too. After saying that, she fled the room. I curiously looked at Olivia, who was running as if her life depended on it. As I walked towards Amelia's bed, I asked in confusion, why is your assistant running so fast? Amelia suppressed a smile, solemnly replied, she's busy with work. I carried the porridge in and sat down on the chair, scooped a spoonful, blew on it gently, and fed it to Amelia. Open your mouth. Amelia felt a little embarrassed to be taken care of by me like this. She reached out and took the bowl from my hand. I can do it myself. I frowned slightly and said, your hand is injured, Amelia. Don't you like me feeding you? Amelia replied without hesitation, I do. I was satisfied at this moment. I smiled and watched Amelia obediently finish the porridge. I continued to scoop a spoonful of porridge and fed it to Amelia. After eating half a bowl of porridge, when I fed it to her mouth again, Amelia shook her head and said, I don't have an appetite anymore. I don't want to eat. Seeing Amelia eating so little, with more than half of the bowl left, I coaxed her like a child. Eat one more bite, okay? My Amelia is the most obedient, right? Amelia really listened to me and ate one more bite. I knew that she had just recovered from a fever and her body wasn't comfortable, so she definitely didn't have an appetite. So I didn't force her. I cleaned up her cut and ate the rest of the porridge one spoonful at a time. Amelia looked at me eating the leftovers. Amazed, she called out in a daze, Michael. My mouth was full of porridge. I looked at Amelia with a questioning expression. What's wrong? Amelia laughed and shook her head. Nothing. Then she pulled a piece of paper from the bedside and helped me wipe the corner of my mouth. Seeing the wound on my lip, she hesitated before finally asking, why is your lip injured? If Amelia hadn't asked about this, I would have almost forgotten that my lip had been torn. It didn't hurt anymore. After eating the rest of the porridge, I licked the corner of my mouth, just happening to lick the scabbed area. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. I couldn't directly say that she had bitten me. She definitely didn't know when she had bitten me. I thought for a moment and replied, a kitten bit me. Amelia didn't believe it, carefully observing my expression. Where did the kitten come from? A stray cat on the street bit me. After saying that, I stood up, ready to leave. If I didn't leave, Amelia would continue to ask, and I didn't know how to make up more stories. But Amelia didn't give me a chance to leave at all. As soon as I stood up, I was pulled back by Amelia. She nestled comfortably in my arms, her big, beautiful eyes carrying a hint of grievance. "Are you trying to run away?" I smiled awkwardly. No, no. I'm just a little hungry and wanted to go find more food." Amelia picked up the phone beside her. "Then I'll call someone to bring up another serving." I held Amelia's hand, stopping her from calling. "No need." Amelia put down the phone and slightly pouted. "So, what's really wrong with your lip?" In fact, Amelia was a little suspicious that she herself had bitten it. Because she still had some feeling that she had bitten something when she was delirious with fever. She didn't remember clearly, so she had to ask me, wanting me to give her a definite answer. Saying that a cat bit me was scolding her? Amelia helplessly shook her head and smiled. "Michael, you're such a fool. You don't even know how to make up a believable reason." I knew that Amelia wouldn't let me off so easily, so I could only rub her head and gently say, "Actually, last night, I was gnawing on a chicken drumstick and accidentally bit myself." Amelia raised her eyebrows. This reason sounds much more realistic than being bitten by a stray cat. Seeing that I didn't seem to want to tell her, she didn't ask further. But when I saw Amelia's wound, my face gradually darkened with an unprecedented seriousness. I asked her, "Why did you hurt yourself? Do you know how dangerous that is?" Amelia lowered her head, not saying anything. I continued to say, "Amelia, promise me that you won't do things that hurt yourself anymore, okay?" Amelia tilted her head and looked at my serious face, nodding in agreement. "As long as you don't leave me, as long as you don't need me anymore, I'll listen to everything you say." But these words Amelia could only think in her heart, not daring to let me know. She leaned on my shoulder, a wave of sleepiness washing over her. She yawned, her eyes filled with tears. I said gently, "Lie down and sleep for a while longer." Amelia blinked her eyes, then, "Will you sleep with me?" I was stunned for a moment, then smiled and nodded. The two of them lay down on the bed like this. At first, there was a little space in between, but after a while, Amelia closed her eyes and began to move toward me, as if searching for the most comfortable position, reaching out and wrapping her arms around my waist before finally remaining motionless, falling into a deep sleep. We slept for a long time. When it was almost dark, Amelia woke up first. We were still hugging each other. Seeing that I was still asleep, Amelia lay still, not daring to move, afraid of waking me up. Just silently looking at me. Suddenly the bedroom door clicked open. Amelia's mom, Mrs. Bennet, stepped inside. "Sweetie, are you okay?" Amelia didn't answer her mom, just gave her a look to be quiet. Mrs. Bennet saw the scene before her and was instantly stunned. Why was there a guy seemingly asleep in her daughter's bed? Her daughter never mentioned liking anyone. She and her husband go on vacation and find out their daughter already has a boyfriend. Mrs. Bennet stood at the door for a moment, unsure of what to do. Just then, Mr. Bennet followed close behind, saw his wife standing at the door, and gently touched her shoulder. As he was about to ask why she wasn't going in, Mrs. Bennet turned and pulled Mr. Bennet away, thoughtfully closing the door quietly behind her. I vaguely heard some noises outside and groggily woke up. I stretched and yawned. Was someone just in here? Amelia nodded. My parents. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Why your parents? Yeah, Mom and Dad are here now, Amelia said, smiling at me. She didn't even need to think about it. With her parents' personalities, they wouldn't leave today without seeing Michael in person. I was so nervous that my speech started to stutter. So they saw you and me. Amelia looked at my reaction with amusement. My parents are easy to talk to. Don't worry. I tried to smile, but it probably looked more like a grimace. I'm not scared, just a little nervous. Why didn't you wake me up sooner? Amelia smiled. It's okay. If you didn't want to see them, I would have told them to go first. There will be other opportunities to introduce you to them. They'll definitely like you. I felt like that would be too impolite. How can we do that? Let's get up and wash up, then go downstairs quickly. They've been waiting for a long time. Amelia chuckled softly. Slow down. No rush. I quickly got out of bed, but after taking 2 steps, I ran back to Amelia's side. Almost forgot you're injured. I'll help you get ready to wash up. Amelia smiled and blinked her eyes. I can manage. I glanced at Amelia. Her face was still pale, and she looked as frail as if she couldn't withstand even a gentle breeze. What if she fell? My words were filled with concern for her injury, and Amelia was captivated by it. But at the same time, I was afraid that my feelings for her would only stop at just concern. After washing up, Amelia and I went downstairs together. The closer I got, the more nervous I became, not knowing what would happen later. Amelia sensed my unease and took my hand reassuringly. It's okay. Don't be scared. Mom and Dad are nice. Amelia's parents had already seen us. Seeing us holding hands, Mrs. Bennet had a constant smile on her face and looked at me approvingly. Amelia introduced us. Mom, Dad, this is Michael. I smiled and nodded in greeting. Hello, Mr. Bennet, Mrs. Bennet. Mrs. Bennet and Mr. Bennet both smiled and nodded. You must be Michael. No need to be so formal. I nodded politely. Please, just call me by my name. Then, I gestured for Amelia to let go of my hand, but Amelia refused, directly pulling me to her side to sit down. Then, she sat down next to me. Mrs. Bennet looked at me with great pleasure, very satisfied. Michael, I liked you the moment I saw you. You're so handsome, it's such a pity I can't have a son like you. Hearing her mom say this, Amelia squeezed my hand even harder, feeling annoyed. Later, don't ask Michael to be your son. She didn't want a brother, she wanted a husband. Thinking of this, Amelia quickly called out. Mrs. Bennet, how could she not know what her daughter was thinking? She smiled and ignored her, continuing to talk to me. It's a pity I gave birth to a daughter like this. Hearing Mrs. Bennet's words, I burst out laughing, no longer as nervous as before. I looked at Amelia beside me and said, Amelia is very good and very outstanding. Hearing me say this, Amelia turned her head and secretly smiled. Mrs. Bennet replied, It's good that you think so. If she ever causes you any trouble, just tell me. Amelia pretended to look pitifully at me. Wow, Mom and Dad are already on your side. Don't you have any sympathy for me, the patient? I gently comforted her. Your parents love you the most. Amelia asked back, then, does Michael love me? I was stunned for a moment, feeling a little embarrassed, not knowing how to answer. Amelia suddenly asked me this in front of everyone, with her parents still there. I was a little shy, but Amelia thought I was hesitating. A hint of sadness flashed in her eyes. Not wanting to make me feel awkward, she could only pretend to say lightly, I was just asking for fun. Mrs. Bennet and Mr. Bennet both saw that I definitely liked Amelia. Just then, the butler, John, came to announce that dinner was ready, inviting us to eat. Mr. Bennet invited us to have dinner first. The atmosphere at the dinner table was very good. Mrs. Bennet was busy placing food on my plate. As she placed food, she said, Michael, don't be shy, eat more. I lost my mom when I was young. Mrs. Bennet's concern made me feel a warmth that I hadn't felt for a long time. I was a little touched and lowered my head, looking at the food in my bowl, and said to Mrs. Bennet, Thank you. After dinner, Mr. Bennet called me to take a walk in the flower garden with him. After walking for a while, he suddenly spoke, Michael, are you curious why Amelia has self-harming behaviors? I looked at Mr. Bennet and nodded. I'm definitely curious. I also asked Amelia, but she didn't seem to want to say. And she was injured and not in good health, so I didn't ask further. I thought I'd wait for the right time to ask in detail later. Today, Mr. Bennet saw how much Amelia cared about me. Knowing the importance of this man in his daughter's heart, he decided to tell the story he had never told anyone. The rumors outside say that Amelia has a disease. When it flares up, she'll hit people or even bite them. After Mr. Bennet said this, he gave a wry smile. Actually, that's not true. She doesn't hit people, let alone bite them. She just locks herself up and hurts herself. In fact, it's been a long time since she had any self-harming behaviors. This time, it must be because someone or something important to her has affected her, that's why it happened. Hearing this, I only felt more sorry for Amelia. What had she gone through to become like this? Mr. Bennet nodded, recalling something from more than 10 years ago. He would never forget that year. He almost lost Amelia forever. When Amelia was 10 years old, there was an accident in the business world. Unavoidably, some people were dissatisfied, so they kidnapped Amelia, wanting to use this to force us to give them a large sum of money and the project plan. But she had been smart since she was little, and she realized something was wrong along the way, so she found an opportunity to escape. Later, we spent many days searching before we found her in a remote village, in a dilapidated house that hadn't been inhabited for a long time. When we found her, she was huddled alone in a dark corner. At that time, she was only 10 years old, curled up there, not letting anyone near her. If we tried to get close, she would hurt herself. When I heard the words remote village, a familiar scene flashed in my head, but it quickly disappeared. I only heard Mr. Bennet continue to say, from then on, my wife and I spent a lot of time with her, which gradually gave her a sense of security and she no longer had self-harming behaviors. Michael, are you afraid? Afraid of Amelia like this? I shook my head, looking at him seriously. Uncle, I'm not afraid. I just feel very sorry for her. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her. Mr. Bennet nodded. I can see that she likes you a lot. I nodded and said, don't worry, I will definitely take good care of Amelia. Before leaving, Mrs. Bennet pulled me aside, secretly took out a bracelet, and gave it to me. Not giving me a chance to refuse, she turned around and quickly left. I looked at the bracelet on my hand, feeling a little embarrassed, and asked Amelia, this bracelet must be very valuable. I can't accept it. Amelia saw the bracelet in my hand and smiled, taking my hand. Just accept it. Mom gave it to you. Hearing this, I no longer hesitated. Then, I seriously thought, so, what gift should I give Mrs. Bennet to thank her? What should you give? Amelia leaned close to my ear and said, give her a son-in-law, okay? My ears immediately turned red. Amelia, what did you just say? Amelia knew that I had heard clearly and was afraid that I would refuse, so she was a little flustered. I said, go to bed early. Then, she quickly ran towards the bedroom. I stood there, looking at Amelia's back, and said to myself, running so fast. What am I going to give? But, just give? I didn't say I didn't agree with that. Finishing that, I chased after Amelia. When I got to the bedroom door, Amelia's hand, which was opening the door, suddenly stopped. I didn't pay attention and kept walking forward, running straight into the door. Ouch. Amelia. Did you do that on purpose? Amelia saw that I was definitely in pain, so she worriedly pulled my hand away and apologized, I didn't mean to. Does it hurt a lot? Let me see. Seeing her worried look, I burst out laughing. You have to compensate me. With yourself. Amelia stiffened, looking at me with surprise. Are you serious? I nodded vigorously. Serious. Amelia hugged me tightly, burying her face in my chest. Everything I have is yours. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. I raised my hand to stroke her head. I just want you. I want you to be healthy and never get hurt again. Amelia hugged me tighter. I won't. I have Michael by my side, so I'll always be healthy. Hearing Amelia say this, I couldn't help but feel curious. In my memories with Amelia, in my past life and this life, there weren't many interactions. The interactions after my rebirth were all created by me. I often worried that Amelia didn't love me yet. I didn't know when she started to like me. I spoke, asking, Amelia, when did you start to like me? Amelia thought for a long time before finally smiling lightly, revealing a captivating dimple. A long, long time ago. I was even more curious. A long time ago? Did you know me then? But I don't have any memory of it. Amelia smiled and said, "It's enough that I remember." I yawned, not thinking too much about it. Amelia tilted her head and asked, "Are you sleepy?" I nodded slightly. In my heart, I really wanted to sleep with Amelia, but I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to control myself. To be safe, it would be better to sleep separately. I moved towards the door, intending to sleep in the room next to the bedroom. "I will see you back to your room first, then wash up and go to bed early." Amelia pouted at me. "I don't want to, I want to sleep here." Under her constant entreaties, I finally agreed. And so, she lay in my arms. I smelled the light fragrance on the girl's body and drifted off into a dream, a night of good sleep. The next morning, I was woken up by the ringing of my phone. Not wanting to pay attention to who was calling, Amelia sat up and grabbed my phone. The caller ID showed Carter Bennett. Amelia knew that Carter was my brother, but she also knew what kind of person Carter really was. Afraid that she would say something bad about Carter and I would be unhappy, she had never said anything. Just then, I opened my eyes and asked, "Who's calling?" Amelia slowly replied, "Carter." Then, she handed the phone to me. Unexpectedly, I didn't care at all and said, "So early in the morning, bothering me to death. Don't answer it." But the person on the other end of the phone didn't give me this chance. A moment later, the phone rang again. It seemed that if I didn't answer this phone today, it wouldn't stop. I took the phone from Amelia's hand, pressed the connect button, and said unhappily, "Carter, what is it? It better be important." Hearing my impatient tone, Carter still said to himself, "Big brother, I'm at the gate of the Bennett's mansion." Hearing this, I felt even more helpless. "What are you doing bothering Amelia and me so early in the morning? What did you come here for?" I only heard Carter say, "A few days ago, you rushed out in a hurry and haven't returned home for so long. I had a hard time finding out you were here. I was worried about you. There are people blocking me at the gate, not letting me in." I knew very well in my heart that Carter was saying he was worried about me. Otherwise, he wouldn't use the excuse of caring about me to run to the Bennett's house so early in the morning. I said to Carter on the other end of the phone, "I'm busy right now. Go back." After saying that, I hung up the phone. Amelia looked at me and asked, "He came to find you?" I nodded. "That's right. Bothering our sleep so early in the morning. It's so annoying, right?" Amelia nodded in agreement. "I don't like who Michael doesn't like." I laughed and pinched Amelia's soft cheeks. "Amelia, this behavior of yours, if it were placed in ancient times, would be a true enchantress." Amelia raised her head to look at me and said, "As long as I can be with you, I'm willing to become an enchantress." I hugged Amelia and laughed. Sure enough, a true enchantress. Amelia raised her eyebrows. "Well, if I don't do some of the things that an enchantress does, then I don't deserve this title." After saying that, she hooked my chin, raised her head, and kissed me. As a result, she didn't kiss my lips but kissed the palm of my hand. I covered my mouth, not letting Amelia kiss me. "Don't kiss me." Amelia was immediately unhappy, frowning and looking at me with slight grievances. "Why don't you let me kiss you?" I still covered my mouth and replied, "Because I haven't brushed my teeth yet." Amelia smiled helplessly and said, "I don't mind. Could it be that Michael dislikes me kissing you before brushing my teeth?" Without hesitating, I shook my head and quickly got up to wash up, preparing to go downstairs for breakfast. Then I heard someone arguing. Amelia and I were both very surprised. Theoretically, the servants definitely wouldn't dare to make such a loud noise in the house. I already guessed who was making the noise downstairs. Amelia also knew who was making a fuss downstairs. Before we even went down the stairs, we saw Carter at the front door being held back by the two guards at the door. At this time, Carter kept shouting, "I am the second young master of the Bennett family, my brother, I am Carter." not letting me in? Be careful, at that time to make you no more eating and eating only your hands are dogs that watch the door for others or not dare to rude to me like this. The words came out more and more bad, but no matter what Carter said, the 2 guards at the door still did not hesitate, with a cold face blocking Carter from entering. I secretly did not accept it. Not worthy of being someone Amelia picked, Carter wanted to rush in, they grabbed him, which made him unable to move. I saw Carter struggling at the door and looked completely different from his usual. Where was a trace of his usual elegance? Watching for a while, I really could not stand Carter screaming, but called his name one time. Carter heard the voice. Carter stopped, the 2 guards released his arms, rubbing 2 arms, instantly turned to elegant polite look up to me, brother, you see how they treat me. After finishing that, didn't forget to peek at Amelia. I saw all of Carter's actions, the corner of my mouth rose into a faint smile, hugging Amelia thin waist, Amelia deliberately not pay attention to Carter, praised 2 guards that stopped Carter at the door, told Amelia, the Bennetts home are so good. See is trained well. Amelia smiled nodded she took my arm to the table eat breakfast pull chair for me then sat down next to me I to fill her a bowl hot rice porridge, like, just us could see each other, all forgot Carter was blocked at door. Carter looked around at door, brothers, early morning come found you, haven't have eat breakfast yet. I intended to ask then Carter looked at me then looked at Amelia, slightly looked forward to say, could, with eat breakfast with on ba guy Amelia Kong? I held small stirred the porridge in small bowl my mouth corner snickered, you said to eat breakfast with AI? Carter didn't understand for what reason I asked this phrase. Early morning came here was for close to Amelia rejected those rumor not good outside Amelia, because with or with appearance all was circumstance which of the small girl outside couldn't compare Carter thought he handsome and superior than me was one which of woman were unable to stronghold just asked to let Amelia assured that he'd win Amelia's heart. The more Carter thought about it, the more confident he became. He looked up, big brother and sister Amelia. I was amused by Carter's audacity and stupidity. I raised an eyebrow, Sister Amelia? Is that what you call her? Carter was still not convinced, and asked, you just called her that, so why can't I? I put down my spoon, my expression turning cold, and said, don't ask so many questions. Because I said so. Amelia beside me looked at me admiringly, enjoying my possessiveness of her. Carter said gently, Sister Amelia hasn't said anything yet. Don't you think you're being a bit of a bully? Then he glanced at Amelia, flashing a pitiful smile. I watched Carter's performance, what a waste he wasn't acting in a movie. I smiled and looked at Amelia, Sister Amelia, do you think I'm bullying him, too? Amelia shook her head. No. Whatever you do is right. Carter was completely stunned. Before, he'd only heard that Amelia was cold and indifferent to everyone, but today he saw her so obedient and gentle. Carter said weakly, can you at least let me in? I've been standing for too long. My legs are going numb. I saw how thick-skinned Carter was, still not giving up on his intention to enter this door. Ask Amelia. This is her house. Carter looked at Amelia hopefully and asked, Sister Amelia, can you tell them not to block me? Amelia ignored Carter, seemingly treating him as if he didn't exist, and held my hand, correcting my previous statement, this is our house. I looked at Amelia's serious expression and smiled. Our house? There's a handsome guy waiting for your reply at our door. Amelia heard me say that and looked towards the door, her cold face showing no warmth. Carter saw Amelia finally looking at him and smoothed his bangs a little, then quickly said, Sister Amelia. Amelia cut off Carter's words, then covered my ears. If you call him that again, be careful with your tongue. Then her eyes looked at the 2 guards at the door, her voice cold as ice, what are you guys being paid for? If you can't do your jobs well, I can replace you at any time. The 2 guards heard this and dragged Carter out, afraid that Carter would disturb the people inside, even thoughtfully covering his mouth. Just like that, Carter was thrown out of Amelia's mansion, his mouth covered all the way, unable to say a word. I watched Carter being dragged away, overjoyed, like watching a play. Amelia asked, slightly surprised. Are you that happy? Weren't you two very close before? What's up today? I lowered my eyes, my voice a little sad. I made a lot of mistakes before and mistook a lot of people. Amelia didn't want to see me looking sad at all, so she picked up a bowl of porridge and fed me. It'll get cold if you don't eat. Amelia took a bite herself, then fed me another bite. The two of us each took a bite, finishing breakfast. After Carter was chased out, he felt aggrieved and had nowhere to vent. He remembered all the humiliation of today and put it all on me. Recalling my attitude recently, he clearly understood that I had changed. He got into his car, took out his phone, and called Sierra. After the call connected, he said, "Meet me at the usual place." Then, he drove away. In a spacious hotel, on the carpet and on the sofa, clothes from both men and women could be seen everywhere. Carter held Sierra in his arms. "Today, I went to find Michael. He's really changed." "Do you think he's discovered our relationship?" Sierra recalled, "We shouldn't have shown any clues." Carter recounted the events that happened this morning. Hearing Carter's words, Sierra thought about what to do next. Then, she smiled scornfully, her eyes becoming sharp. "If we can't meet him, we'll create an opportunity to meet. Isn't it almost the start of junior year? Shouldn't there be a gathering before the semester starts? In a few days, invite our classmates to a reunion. If we call him, he'll definitely come. Then, we just need to prepare in advance, and we'll definitely succeed. I want to see if the only daughter of the Bennett family cares about being with a man who slept with another woman." Carter didn't expect Sierra to come up with such a vicious plan, but he was quite eager to see that scene. "I'll listen to you." In the Bennett mansion, in a garden full of sunflowers, Amelia and I sat on a swing. The gentle breeze blew, creating a sea of flowers. Amelia's small feet on the swing swayed occasionally. "Amelia, don't people usually plant roses and stuff? Why do you plant such a large field of sunflowers?" Amelia looked at me seriously. "Before, when you weren't here, I often came to the flower garden and stayed for a long time. I felt like when I saw these sunflowers, it was like you were by my side. I didn't understand and asked, why? Do I look like these sunflowers?" Amelia smiled and said, "Because you, Michael, are my little son, the light in my life." Hearing this, I couldn't help but hug Amelia. "I'll always be by your side in the future." Amelia parted her lips, wanting to say something, but hesitated, unsure if she should say it. Finally, she asked, "Michael, can you come live with me?" After asking this, she touched her nose. Even her breathing became careful, her whole body tense, almost afraid to hear my answer. "If you don't want to, it's okay, I often go to Dash." She hadn't finished speaking when she heard a clear okay. I continued to say, "I wanted to live with you. I was originally afraid that you wouldn't agree and was thinking about what reasons to use to make you agree immediately. I didn't expect you to say it first. I'm so happy." Amelia thought that I wouldn't agree. Hearing me say that, her eyes sparkled with joyful light, her whole body both surprised and excited. Amelia was a little impatient. "Then I'll call someone to move your things over later." I shook my head. "I'll go back later to get a few things and come back." Amelia immediately said, "I'll go with you." I didn't agree and was afraid that she would be alone at home and get upset, so I patiently coaxed her, "Your wound hasn't healed yet. You have to rest well to heal quickly." Seeing Amelia still looking down, I promised her again, "Amelia, I'll be right back. You have to wait for me obediently at home." Amelia smiled. "Be careful on the road." I went home to settle things with the Bennetts. Taking Amelia with me really wasn't a good idea. While Amelia was home alone, she decided to renovate our house. She didn't delay, thinking she had to do it immediately. Amelia took her phone and called Olivia, arranging a series of things unrelated to the company, asking her to go choose curtains that a boy would like, and to buy bed sheets, covers, and screens in colors that a boy would like. In short, everything had to be something that a boy would like, no matter what it was. Olivia didn't understand why she was suddenly being asked to buy so many things that a boy would like. She was thinking when she heard Amelia say, "Early arrival gets a reward, late arrival gets a salary deduction." Then, she hung up the phone. Olivia didn't dare to be angry, only knowing that she was being threatened with her salary. However, she was afraid of this threat, only because Amelia paid her too much. Olivia didn't dare to delay and ran to buy things. Her work efficiency was very high. Before long, she had bought everything and delivered it to Amelia's mansion. The clothes alone filled a van. Other vans transported many things that a boy would like. Olivia stood by and directed the delivery man to transport things inside one by one. She also changed the curtains she had chosen, and the bed sheets and covers had been dry cleaned, so she had the maids in the house change them. Olivia took credit, saying, "Sister Amelia, my efficiency isn't bad, right?" Amelia nodded with satisfaction. "Very good. I didn't expect a single person like you to know so much about what boys like." Olivia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Was Amelia praising or criticizing her? Let's just consider it praise. In an instant, the style of Amelia's bedroom completely changed from a princess room to a game room in the style of a pub. Seeing that Amelia's mood wasn't bad at this time, Olivia couldn't help but ask a few more questions. "Sister Amelia, you decorating the room like this is dash." Amelia was beaming, her tone very proud. "A single person like you wouldn't understand." Olivia couldn't wait to tear her mouth apart. She shouldn't have asked, bringing suffering upon herself. After Olivia left, Amelia looked around the room again, rearranging the places she felt were not satisfactory. Only after looking around did she nod. "When Michael comes back and sees it, he'll definitely like it, right?" She felt as if hallucinations were appearing before her eyes. It seemed that she saw me coming home with an indescribably happy expression, running back and forth all over the room. Amelia came back to her senses, raised her hand, and looked at her watch. It was time. She prepared to cook dinner herself tonight, making it and waiting for me to come home and eat. Turning around, she went downstairs towards the kitchen. On the other side, just as I entered the house, I saw that Mr. Bennet and my stepmother, Lydia, were home. Carter was sitting next to Lydia. Lydia was patting Carter on the back, comforting him, while Mr. Bennet's expression seemed very unhappy, pacing back and forth on the verge of anger. I raised an eyebrow. I had already predicted what it was about. It must be Carter telling them what happened this morning. I walked forward, sat down, and only called out, "Dad," automatically ignoring the other two people. Mr. Bennet was already very unhappy with me. Hearing me only call out to him, his expression immediately turned stern, and he scolded, "Don't you see that there are two other people here?" The corners of my mouth slightly curled up, then I reached out and covered my mouth, feigning surprise. "Oh, sorry, look, I've only just passed 20 years old, and my eyes are already not so good anymore. I'm old, I can't see anything." Carter and Lydia's faces turned dark and red. I found it very interesting. My stepmother and little brother were so good to me, they definitely wouldn't blame me, right? Lydia heard me say this and gritted her teeth, trying to restrain herself. Mainly because Mr. Bennet was there, she couldn't explode as she pleased. She was a gentle and virtuous woman, after all. Lydia forced a smile and said, "Of course." Then, she continued to comfort Carter, attracting my attention, as if they were both being bullied by me, acting aggrieved. In reality, they were just putting on a show for Mr. Bennet to see. My eyes shifted from Lydia to Carter, as if I had just noticed Carter. "Little brother, you look very sad. What's wrong? Was someone bullying you?" Carter heard me finally paying attention to him. The bit of comfort he had just received started to act again. He didn't answer me, just turned around and leaned on Lydia, continuing to complain. He added fuel to the fire and told Mr. Bennet what happened this morning, trying to ruin his impression of Michael, hoping that one day he could incite Michael to be kicked out. However, Carter didn't expect that I would come home today. Usually, Carter acted very obedient and sensible at home. In the past, whenever there was a mistake, it was all my fault. I was scolded, but I didn't dare to say much. I even took the initiative to help Carter take the blame, only because I felt that Carter was very good to me, the only one in this family who cared about me. Plus, we were only a month apart in age, so we often played together. After my mom passed, I slowly distanced myself from Mr. Bennet. The two of us gradually had no feelings for each other. Then, this illegitimate son came. All day long, he would follow behind Mr. Bennet, calling him Dad, which made Mr. Bennet very happy. The two of them sang together, as if I was the extra person in this family. Living a new life, I felt that there was no need to force many things. In this life, I only wanted to treat the person I love well. Just then, Mr. Bennet, who was beside him, saw Carter, who had just been comforted, start to feel sad again and felt very sorry for him. Mr. Bennet frowned and looked at me. "Do you even have the nerve to ask your little brother what's wrong? Don't you know what's going on in your heart?" My face was full of innocence. "I just got home, how would I know?" Mr. Bennet frowned and looked at me. "A few days ago, you didn't come home. Where did you go? Are we, your family, even in your eyes?" Seeing Mr. Bennet getting more and more angry, finishing his sentence, he even slammed his hand on the sofa, his whole body exuding an imposing aura. I wasn't scared at all, raising my eyes slightly. "Didn't you already know where I went? Carter must have told you everything. What's the point of asking me again? Besides, what difference does it make whether I'm home or not?" Hearing my words, Mr. Bennet pointed at me, so angry that he was bursting. Lydia quickly came over to comfort him, soothing Mr. Bennet while saying, "Honey, Michael is still young, he doesn't understand things. Don't be angry with him." Mr. Bennet snorted coldly, "He's already 20 years old. What's so young about that? Carter, who is a month younger than him, is much more sensible than him. He didn't need to keep saying nice things about Michael." I also only found out in this life that Lydia was completely insincere in protecting me. On the surface, she helped me ask for forgiveness and said nice things about me in front of Mr. Bennet, but in reality, she was just adding fuel to the fire. After Lydia finished speaking, it only made my situation more miserable. In the past, I was so naive to think that she really cared about me. Mr. Bennet looked at me, using in commanding tone, "You already know in your heart. Why not quickly apologize to your little brother? If your little brother forgives you, then this matter is over." I felt like I had heard a big joke. I sneered, "Apologize? Why should I apologize to him?" Mr. Bennet looked at me angrily, "You haven't come home for a few days. Carter was worried about you and went to find you early in the morning. But what did you do? Not only did you not care about your little brother, but you also told people to chase him out, not even letting him eat breakfast. Michael, when did your heart become so cruel?" Carter was still silent beside him, glancing at me, then looking towards Mr. Bennet, his voice hoarse, "Dad, don't blame Big Brother anymore. I'm okay. He doesn't need to apologize, don't force him." I looked at Carter's performance amusingly. I had to admit that he and Lydia were really mother and son. They were both the same type. I laughed and said, "So, I still have to thank my little brother for his generosity. Then, I'll be going first." Saying that, not wanting to waste any more time with them, I stood up, preparing to go upstairs and pack up a few things to bring with me. I had a dinner date with Amelia. If I delayed any longer and came home late, Amelia would worry. However, just as I stood up, I heard Mr. Bennet's voice, "Stop right there." I stopped in my tracks, coldly asking, "What else is there?" Mr. Bennet also stood up, walking to in front of me, pointing to where Carter was sitting. "If you don't apologize to your little brother today, don't even think about going anywhere." At this time, I also became angry, my mood a little irritable. The surrounding atmosphere instantly became heavy and cold. Staring at Mr. Bennet, "Don't even dream about it." Mr. Bennet was startled by the aura emanating from me, his face turning red with anger. Without hesitation, he raised his hand and slapped me. I heard a loud smack. My face was turned to the side by the slap. It could be seen how strong Mr. Bennet had used. A handprint quickly appeared on my face. Even though my body swayed, I still stood straight. Mr. Bennet's slap came too suddenly, I didn't have time to react. The slap had already landed on my face. I really was careless. I only felt my face was a little numb. Lightly twirling my tongue in my mouth, I touched my cheek. It really was a little painful. Lydia and Carter beside me saw this scene, looking at each other with glee, lowering their heads, revealing a smug smile, afraid of being discovered, so they quickly disappeared. After a moment, I tightened my fist, then released it. I curved the corners of my mouth, giving Carter and Lydia a look, then looked at Mr. Bennet. As you all wished, I won't be coming back to this house anymore in the future. I'll take this slap. After this, we'll be even. I advise you, don't take the initiative to cause trouble with me. Otherwise, you'll bear the consequences yourself. Saying that, not caring about the reactions of a few people, leaving them stunned in place, digesting the words I had just said, I went directly upstairs to take my things. I came back to my room, locked the door, and my phone rang with a message notification, interrupting my sad mood at this time. I took out my phone and saw that it was a message Amelia had sent me. Michael, where are you? Where are you now? Do you need me to pick you up? I looked at Amelia's message, my lips slightly trembling. At this moment, I really wanted her to hug me. I was about to reply that I was coming home when I thought of the injury on my face, which must look very bad. I got up and went to the mirror to examine it carefully. Sure enough, it had already swollen up. At this moment, I regretted it a little. How could I meet Amelia looking like this? On the other side, in the mansion, Amelia had already prepared dinner herself. Each plate of food was placed neatly on the table. Fearing that it would get cold, she thoughtfully covered them to keep them warm. At this moment, she nodded with satisfaction, a faint smile appearing at the corners of her mouth. Then, she sat neatly at the dinner table, waiting for me to come home. After sitting for a while, she felt like the waiting was especially long. Unable to wait for me, she stood up and went to the front door, standing there and looking out for a while, her face slightly furrowing. She still couldn't see any sign of me. She couldn't count how many times this was. Anxiously, she raised her hand and looked at the time. Amelia calculated in her heart that, theoretically, I should have already been home by now, but why hadn't I returned yet? The longer she waited, the more scared Amelia became, scared that something might have happened to me, and also scared that I wouldn't come back, scared that everything that had happened between us before was all fake. Thinking of countless possibilities in her heart, Amelia became a little panicked. She took out her phone and very anxiously sent me a message, her fingers trembling slightly as she typed. After sending the message, she waited for a while, but she didn't receive my reply. At this moment, Amelia became even more anxious, thinking that something must have really happened to me, which was why I was delayed. In a panic, she called me. After the first ring, no one answered. After the second ring, no one answered. With each ring, Amelia's heart grew heavier. At this moment, I was applying medicine in front of the mirror. Hearing the phone ringing, I was startled. Seeing that the call was from Amelia, I knew that she must be asking why I hadn't returned yet. What should I do if I went back looking like this and embarrassed Amelia? Hesitantly, I picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Amelia. As the call was about to end, Amelia finally waited for the person on the other end to answer the phone. Hearing my voice come from the other end, Amelia breathed a sigh of relief. Michael, why haven't you come home yet? I knew that Amelia was anxiously waiting, so I could only answer gently, do you miss me? Amelia immediately said, I miss you a lot. I quickly explained, I miss you too. I was just delayed by something and didn't pay attention to the time. Amelia heard that I was busy and hurriedly asked, do you need my help? I shook my head. I can handle it myself. Amelia asked again, then when are you coming back? I'll come pick you up. Saying that, she got up and took the car keys, preparing to go out and drive to pick me up. I heard Amelia saying she wanted to pick me up and looked at my face in the mirror, feeling a little nervous. It definitely wouldn't be good for Amelia to see me like this. It wasn't about looking bad, but Amelia would definitely be angry and worried if she saw that I was injured. Or maybe, I should just come back tomorrow. After applying the medicine, the swelling should definitely go down by tomorrow. I immediately spoke, asking, "Sister Amelia, can I come back tomorrow instead?" On the other end of the phone, Amelia, who was holding the car keys, heard my words and stopped her hurried footsteps, standing in place silently, tightly grasping the keys in her hand, not answering me. I could only feel the air turn silent. There was no need to ask, I knew that this girl definitely wouldn't agree. Not saying anything now was probably because she was upset. The two of us were silent for a moment. After thinking for a while, I decided that I should still go back. I couldn't let Amelia be unhappy alone at home, or else she would start thinking nonsense again. The consequences would definitely be very serious. I took the initiative to break this silence, my voice gently teasing, "I'm kidding with you. Did you get tricked? Don't be upset. I'll be right back. There's no need to pick me up. Be good and wait for me at home, okay? I'll be there in half an hour." Amelia was so easy to coax. Hearing that I was coming back soon, her mood immediately improved. She smiled and nodded, hanging up the phone. I immediately went downstairs. Mr. Bennet and the others were still downstairs. Everyone was frightened by my words. After all, the Bennets' current wealth mostly came from my mother. The meaning in my words seemed to be that I wanted to take away everything that the Bennets had. They were terrified, afraid that one day I would really do that. Their good life would suddenly be gone. In Lydia and Carter's eyes, there was a lot of tension. Carter gently pushed Lydia, his eyes signaling her to persuade Mr. Bennet. She couldn't lose her current life. She hoped that I would leave but didn't hope that I would take away even a small part of the family when I left. In Carter's eyes, a vicious look flashed. I couldn't be allowed to just leave like this. It was probably only by letting Michael disappear forever. Lydia took Mr. Bennet's hand. "Honey, don't be angry anymore. It's not good for your health. Talk to Michael nicely later. Don't just say you want to leave home at every opportunity." Mr. Bennet was a person who valued face very much. He had already taken action and hit someone, so he couldn't take the initiative to bow his head to me now. If he wants to go, then let him go. Don't ever come back after leaving this door. Lydia was also very helpless with Mr. Bennet's stubbornness. She glanced at Carter, not knowing what to do. Seeing me coming down from upstairs, Carter was a little flustered. He knew that I would definitely go to Amelia today. Once I was let go, with the Bennet family protecting me, it would be even more difficult for him to do anything to me in the future. He hurriedly said to Mr. Bennet, "Dad, quickly persuade him. He can't be allowed to go. What if something happens?" Hearing Carter's words, I shook my head. I really couldn't stand the pressure. My face showed a mocking smile. Mr. Bennet glanced at me, who was coming downstairs. Seeing that I really wanted to leave this family, he was also a little worried. After all, a large part of the current company belonged to the inheritance my mother left to me. He couldn't lose everything he had. But telling him to say nice words was also something he couldn't do now. His voice was stiff as he said to me, "Isn't it just one slap? I'm your father. Can't I even hit you? Making such a big deal out of such a small thing, wanting to leave home. If you leave, then don't call me Dad anymore." With a slightly threatening tone, Mr. Bennet thought that saying this would scare me. He had never seen my temperament as stubborn as it was today. It was as if I had become a different person. The way I was now made him feel very much like someone, my mother. I heard Mr. Bennet's words, my heart as calm as still water. This house, the people in this house, there was nothing that made me have any feelings for them. Without expressing any emotions, when I reached the door, I stopped. Seeing the back of me stopping by the door, Carter and the others thought that I had changed my mind and didn't want to leave anymore. The next moment, hearing me turn my back to them, I said coldly, "Uncle Carter, goodbye." Saying that, the corners of my mouth bloomed into a bright smile, resolutely stepping out of the big door. The few people in the house were all stunned. Mr. Bennet angrily grabbed the cup on the coffee table and threw it hard towards the door, shouting angrily, "Michael!" It was a pity that I had already gone outside. I drove fast. It didn't take half an hour before I arrived at Amelia's mansion. Amelia had just warmed up all the dishes. Seeing that the time was almost here, she went to the front door to wait for me. Seeing me driving back, she had a smile on her face, standing and waiting for me to park the car. I saw Amelia's figure standing at the door waiting for me and muttered a sentence, "This woman, why is she so beautiful? Wherever she stands, it's a beautiful scenery. Such an excellent woman, yet I met her and ran away in my past life. I was really blind." I quickly parked the car and ran to Amelia's side, stepping forward and hugging her tightly. Amelia was only looking forward to being with me every minute and every second. "Michael, are you hungry?" Hearing Amelia ask this, I felt that I was really a little hungry, so I nodded. She took my hand and went inside. Only at this time did she see the red and swollen handprint on my face. Amelia's entire body froze. The smile on her face disappeared. In her heart, she was both angry and distressed. How long had it only been, and Michael had already been injured? It was only now that she discovered how angry she was, but she was afraid of scaring me, trying to restrain herself from looking fierce. Looking at my face, her voice was still a little stiff as she asked, "Who did this?" I was stunned for a moment, almost forgetting about the injury on my face. I rubbed her head and said, "Don't be angry. This time it was because I was careless. I promise I won't let myself get hurt in the future." "Who laid their hands on you?" Amelia was determined to know who dared to take action so heavily. I sighed softly. "Mr. Bennet." Amelia was especially distressed. Without even thinking, she knew that I must have suffered great grievances. She wanted me to go bankrupt? I couldn't help but take a step forward. Luckily, Amelia had just given me a lot of money this morning, which just happened to come in handy. I could use it to get through this crisis and do my best to win this shipment. They raised their prices, and so did we, not worrying about the money. But no matter how much my side raised the price, the other side would follow suit. After a few rounds of bidding, it had completely exceeded the initial budget for this shipment. Lark, who was starting to get worried, asked, "Mr. Bennet, if we continue like this, even if we win this shipment, we'll only lose money. What should we do?" I thought with a cold face. I also knew that it had far exceeded the value that the shipment could bring to the company, but without this shipment, the company's development would be even more hopeless. Moreover, I was spending Amelia's money. I knew the Bennet family was very wealthy, but it couldn't go on like this forever. I sighed and said to Lark, with a hint of weariness, "Let's stop here for now. I'll think of another way." Lark, a little unwilling, opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end, she gave up and didn't say a word. I really couldn't think of a better way at the moment. That night, when Amelia came home from work, she found me sitting silently on the sofa in a daze. Amelia still remembered my "I'm home" kiss, deliberately making some noise so that I knew she was back, but I didn't know what I was thinking, looking particularly serious. She came to my side and sat down, her voice a little complaining, "Michael, what are you thinking about?" It was only at this moment that I came back to my senses, forcing a smile as I looked at Amelia. "Amelia, you're back." Seeing that I seemed a little listless, Amelia secretly decided that she would come home earlier in the future, not letting me wait for her for too long. When we were eating dinner, Amelia noticed that I still wasn't there mentally and was a little worried about my abnormality. "Michael, is the food not to your liking today?" "No, it's very delicious." I heard Amelia talking to me and came back to my senses, hurriedly scooping rice into my bowl and eating it greedily. After only a few bites, I said, "I'll go upstairs to take a shower first." Amelia looked at my back as I went upstairs, her eyes full of probing and suspicion. It would be right for her if she didn't recognize something was wrong, but she did not, so it must be a big problem. What did I not let her know? Amelia also lost her appetite, put down her chopsticks, and called the butler. She asked in a low voice, "Did anything happen to Michael today?" The butler hurriedly shook his head and replied, "No, Mississippi. It seems that Mr. Bennet went out for a while and was a little unhappy when he came home." Amelia frowned and asked, "Michael went out today?" Suddenly, she felt that she was very unworthy. In her heart, she felt a little regret that she didn't even know that I had gone out. The main thing was that I was out and came back unhappy, and she didn't know the reason why I was unhappy. She should find 2 people who specifically served me so that they could know what happened at any time. Amelia got up and went to the bedroom. When she came back to the room after taking a shower, she saw that I was already lying on the bed. Suddenly, Amelia spoke, asking, "Is there something you want to tell me?" I stiffened. Why would Amelia suddenly ask me this? Could it be that she had discovered something about my company? If I still hid it from her now, Amelia would definitely be very angry. I got out of bed and sat up. I have a company, but recently, it's encountered some problems. After I briefly explained the matter, Amelia's heart skipped a beat. An ominous premonition rose in her heart. It couldn't be such a coincidence. The company her own was trying to steal a shipment from was my competitor's company, was Michael's company? With this speculation, Amelia's entire body froze. I finished speaking, seeing that Amelia didn't react, thinking that she was also angry for me, and said, "I'll think of a way to handle this matter." "Amelia, you don't need to worry." The corners of Amelia's mouth were a little stiff. They were too much. "Michael, what's the name of your company?" "Scarlet," I said lightly, causing Amelia's heart, which was hanging in her throat, to immediately fall into the abyss. It seemed that the opponent of the company from whom she was trying to steal the shipment today also had the word Scarlet. If it really was Michael's company and I had been discovered trying to steal from my own company, I would be done for, right? She had even said that she wanted to make my company go bankrupt. Amelia pulled me back to lie down, tucking the blanket in. She put her slender arms around my waist. "Sleep first. Think about these things tomorrow. Who knows, things might get better tomorrow." I hugged Amelia and fell asleep very peacefully, not continuing to think about this troublesome matter. Very quickly, sleepiness washed over me, and I fell asleep. Seeing that I had fallen asleep, Amelia gently took my hand, which was resting on her waist, and carefully got out of bed. She tiptoed out of the bedroom, went into the study, and gently closed the door. Immediately, Amelia took out her phone and called Olivia. Very quickly, the other party answered the phone. Amelia asked with a glimmer of hope, "What's the name of the company that's fighting with us over the shipment?" "Scarlet," Olivia answered honestly. When Amelia heard this name again from Olivia's mouth, she felt like her entire body was falling apart. She was done for. She had really provoked Michael. "Quickly return that shipment. Give it to Scarlet for free." Olivia couldn't believe it. "President Bennet, are you serious?" She felt that she must have misheard. It had been very difficult for Olivia to win that shipment, and now she was telling her to return it for free? She suspected that she was dreaming, or else Amelia hadn't woken up yet and was not sober, which was why she said such a thing. "Scarlet is Michael's company. I only found out about this today." Hearing Amelia say this, Olivia immediately understood what was going on. In her heart, she silently mourned for Amelia for 2 minutes, then replied, "Okay, I'll do it right away." Amelia was uneasy, adding another instruction, "Pay attention to hiding our identity carefully. No one is allowed to mention the matter of this shipment anymore in the future." After hanging up the phone, Amelia breathed a sigh of relief, turned around, preparing to go back to the bedroom. Unexpectedly, just as she turned her head, she saw me leaning against the door, folding my arms, half smiling, not smiling, standing there looking at her. Amelia took half a step back in fright, her entire body shrouded in tension. I took all of her reactions into my eyes. "Michael, you. When did you come?" Amelia was so anxious that she stuttered. "Had I heard everything just now?" I remained in that position, slightly surprised as I asked, "Heard what?" "Just now, I just wanted to remind you to rest early." Saying that, I turned around and went back to bed. In the bedroom, it was no wonder why I hadn't been able to investigate who the opponent was. It turned out that Amelia was using the Bennet's money to compete with my company. I thought about it and couldn't help but laugh. It was just that I had never told her about the company, so that was why she had done that. But Amelia actually dared to say that she would make my company go bankrupt. I had to punish her a little. Seeing me turn around and leave, Amelia's heart skipped a beat. She quickly followed after me, seeing that I was sitting on the bed with my back to her. She walked around so that I could see her. "Michael, I'm sorry. At first, I really didn't know that it was your company. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have said those words, and I wouldn't have fought over that shipment with you." Saying that, Amelia wanted to kiss me to calm me down, but unexpectedly, I covered her mouth when she leaned over, not letting her kiss me. Amelia said with a little grievance, "Michael, you said that any time I want to kiss you, I can." I glanced at her. "Starting from now, no kissing anymore. This is your punishment." "Can I change the punishment? Is this punishment a little too severe?" Amelia wanted to bargain but didn't dare to make me any unhappier. I looked at Amelia, with her appearance of a wronged little wife. How was she so adorable? People who didn't know would have thought she had suffered a great injustice. Suppressing the smile in my heart, I leaned close to Amelia, kissing her lightly on the forehead, then looked away, not looking at her, as if the person who had just kissed her wasn't me. Being kissed by me, Amelia's eyes immediately turned bright, her face immediately brightening up. "Michael, didn't you say dash?" I interrupted her, seriously talking nonsense. "I only said you can't kiss me, I didn't say I can't kiss you." Amusingly looking at Amelia's reaction, how was this woman so easily satisfied? I had only kissed her once, and she was able to be so happy. Not bearing to tease her anymore, I gently stroked her head and said, "Sleep quickly." Amelia happily closed her eyes, quickly falling into a dream. The next morning, I was awakened by the ringing of my phone. Seeing that there was no one beside me, judging by the temperature, she had probably been gone for a while. I answered the phone, and a very excited voice came from the other end. "Mr. Bennet." I held the phone away a little. "Lark, it's me." "I'm fine. Why are you calling so early in the morning?" Realizing that she was too excited, Lark was a little embarrassed and lowered her voice. I'm just too excited." Speaking of this matter, Lark couldn't control herself, her voice getting a little louder. She hurriedly covered her mouth, lowering her voice again. "Mr. Bennet, that shipment. We got it. The other party actually gifted it to us for free." Am I dreaming? I wasn't surprised at all, simply answering her with one word, "Yeah." Lark still didn't know what had happened, only thinking that my reaction was too calm, as expected of her boss, so calm. Her admiration for me increased by another level. I added another instruction: since it was sent, then accept it, bring out its value. Don't let down the good intentions of others. Lark nodded, knowing that I meant to maintain a good relationship with the Bennets. After hanging up the phone, I saw that my friend, Leo, had sent me a message. "Why haven't I heard from you during the entire summer vacation? You have a woman and have forgotten your brothers?" I smiled wryly and replied, "Then I'll treat you to a meal this afternoon." Leo immediately replied with an OK sticker, followed by the words, "Thank you, Godfather." After washing up, I took the car keys and left the Bennett's house, driving in the direction of Leo's house. Just as I left, two people drove another car and followed me. I drove to Leo's house. Just as I was about to call to tell him that I had arrived, I saw Leo coming out from inside. Leo saw my car at a glance and quickly ran to the front of my car. "Long time no see." I glanced at him and started the car. "Wasn't it only a few days ago that we last met? You still have the nerve to say that? It's already been more than a month. Tell me the truth. Is there something wrong?" I pretended to be stupid, pretending not to understand what Leo was talking about. What's wrong? Leo was eager to know and suddenly thought of Sierra. His face immediately fell, becoming a little serious as he asked, You're not still with that money-grubbing woman, Sierra, are you? Just then, the traffic light in front of me turned red. Hearing Leo's words, I slammed on the brakes. What are you talking about? How could I be with her? Mentioning her, my eyes were full of hatred. Seeing me say that, Leo was relieved but still a little curious. Why did Michael suddenly hate Sierra so much? Before, when Sierra was mentioned, it wasn't like this. His eyes and heart were all about her. I looked at Leo and smiled. Knowing that he was very worried about me, seeing the green light turn on, I continued to drive to my destination. I have something I want to tell you. You might be shocked. Then tell me. I want to hear what could be more shocking. I said lightly, I'm with Amelia. Leo, in surprise, sat up straight. What? He was a little suspicious that he had misheard. I calmly repeated it once more. Amelia. Leo asked in a daze, that Amelia? I smiled, a little helplessly glancing at Leo. Are there that many Amelias here? I continued, moreover, I'm living with her now. What happened? Why was Leo surprised he knew Amelia as well? It was like being next to Leo, as he tried to grasp that in a matter of over a month his friend had fallen for a woman he had sworn off and began living with her. Leo's eyebrows furrowed as he recalled a point that had long bothered him, but didn't you used to say that she's not that cute that her aura would not let anyone bother her? That she kept trying to pursue you and you would do anything to avoid her? How'd all that end up with this whole living together gig? Don't tell me that she forced you. Other than this, Leo would not think of another reason. As if I would let myself be forced by somebody, I quipped, yet Leo did not give up but kept thinking if I did not force he, who forced me to see the reality of myself. I noticed him deep in thought and gave him a knowing look before he could get to a reason. He knew the real me, so I cut him before could get any ideas out. He was getting too close. Of course I like her, I want to be with her. Leo was beyond flabbergasted, and his mouth gave an audible, but he kept digging into my actions and thoughts as if he wanted to unearth where my real feeling and intentions truly lied. He started with his usual points, which I heard before. Did she save your life or what? After what seemed like hours of questioning and prodding me to reveal more about why, I did tell him my truth, but there was no way he would see me through the same light as I was beginning to see my own self through. Yet, I was sincere when told him, yeah, she did. She saved me in my past life. And she gave it all up for me in it, too. That's the ticket out of this, I told myself internally as I watched him look at me with the utmost disdain I had ever received from my only friend. I could see myself through his eyes. Compared to that gold digger Sierra, that Amelia has something for than what you see. We have arrived, I told him as I saw the store manager open the door as we were about to walk into our restaurant. Since we are here. After we got seated in the restaurant, the waiter came with our menus, which were what I had predicted, overly expensive and exclusive. I knew Leo was an average man and he may feel the need to cut cost. I told him that I would go to the restroom before I let him open the menu, look at what's on the menu and pick whatever you like. I need to visit the restroom, I may take a while in there, so go ahead and order what you want and what looks good. As I took some time away from the seat, I found a message on phone as I tried to leave. Just tell your buddy anything and everything that is on your mind. I do not need you to hide anything, even if it is about me. Just trust that everything you will tell him will be safe with me. Just be frank as you always are. That text made me forget what I was going to do. The sheer weight of that message on my shoulders made me pause, and it made me come face to face with a revelation that changed my whole life. I needed to have an honest life in front of everyone that were in my life and stop hiding from the world what I wanted, and who I wanted in that world. I needed to find a way to be forthright with everyone what I was going to do, because it was exactly my intent to not have to hide anything from them anymore, and that needed to start this very moment with nothing less than what I was about to do. As I walked back towards my seat, I saw in the entrance of my establishment, two people that I had hoped to never see enter through those doors. If my life had started to change from a month ago, this was that moment, and time, those old feelings I had for those individuals were about to resurface, and that was one thing I did not need to happen. Well, let's see how honest I can be after this, as I began walking back. Hi, how are you doing? As I was about to sit, I could hear the familiar and grating tone of that old voice that I detested. It was the man that brought so much shame to our family, that would always come second to the pointlessly and the one and only, Carter. As Carter got a glimpse of me, with that fake persona he had been so accustomed to acting around my life, and with that, in a state of fake surprise he uttered, "My bro, what are you even doing here?" And those words made my fists curl more tightly than they ever had. It was like a switch was hit and the old rage was about to unleash. I gave the man a look with nothing in my soul but complete and utter malice, as it was one thing my mind could muster at that instant, and asked him what he had even come there for. I saw as Carter looked around almost as if trying to test the temperature in the room, and in response to my hostility, he pulled to the front and tried to act coolly, or at least cool enough, so as not to spook the patrons of the establishment by acting like his usual self. I wanted to see that person for once, to be forthright as Amelia wanted me to. Would force me to go bankrupt. I couldn't help but hold back a bit. Luckily, Amelia had given me so much money this morning, which came in handy. I could use it to get through this crisis and do my best to win this shipment. They raised their prices, and so did we, not worrying about the money. But no matter how much my side raised the price, the other side would follow suit. After a few rounds of bidding, it had completely exceeded the initial budget for this shipment. Lark, a little worried, asked, "Mr. Bennett, if we continue like this, even if we win this shipment, we'll only lose money. What should we do?" I thought with a cold face. I also knew that it had far exceeded the value that the shipment could bring to the company, but without this shipment, the company's development would be even more hopeless. Moreover, I was spending Amelia's money. I knew the Bennetts were wealthy, but it couldn't go on like this forever. I sighed, saying to Lark, "Let's stop for now. I'll think of another way." There was some fatigue in my voice. Lark was a little unwilling but eventually gave up without saying a word. I couldn't think of a better way at the moment. That night, when Amelia got off work and came home, she found me sitting silently on the sofa in a daze. Amelia still remembered my "I'm home" kiss, so she made some noise to let me know she was back. But I didn't seem to notice, my mind somewhere else. She walked over and sat next to me, her voice slightly complaining, "Michael, what are you thinking about?" Only then did I come back to my senses, forcing a smile at Amelia. "Amelia, you're back." Seeing me looking listless, Amelia secretly resolved to come home earlier in the future, so I wouldn't have to wait so long. During dinner, Amelia noticed that I still wasn't present and was concerned. "Michael, is the food not to your liking today?" "No, it's very delicious." I heard Amelia and came back to myself, hurriedly scooping the rice into my mouth and eating it. After only a few bites, I said, "I'll go upstairs and shower first." Amelia watched me walk upstairs, her eyes full of scrutiny and suspicion. If she didn't notice anything amiss, she might as well be a kindergartner. What exactly was going on? Amelia glanced at the food in front of her and muttered, "We're eating together," but he barely ate anything and then left. Amelia also lost her appetite, putting down her chopsticks, and calling the butler, asking, "Did anything make Michael unhappy today?" her voice low. The butler shook his head. "No, Mississippi." It seemed that Mr. Bennett went out for a bit and was unhappy when he returned. Amelia frowned. "Michael went out today?" Suddenly, she felt very unworthy, even regretting it a little. She didn't even know that I had gone out. But now she'd try to prevent that as well, so all her focus would be on me. Amelia got up and went to the bedroom. When she came back to the room after showering, she found me lying on the bed. Suddenly, Amelia asked, "Is there something you want to tell me?" I stiffened. What brought that on? Did she know something? To that end I had to have an honest life, so I didn't leave her waiting in limbo. I sat up. I have a company, but recently, it's encountered some problems. After I briefly explained the situation, Amelia's heart skipped a beat, a bad feeling rising in her. It couldn't be a coincidence. Was the company she was competing with actually mine? Amelia's body froze as this thought went through her head. I finished speaking, seeing that Amelia didn't react, thinking that she was also angry for me. I'll figure out how to handle this. Amelia, you don't need to worry. The corners of Amelia's mouth were stiff. They're too much. Michael, what's the name of your company? Her voice was a slight whisper as my world began to open before me. Scarlet. I said lightly, causing Amelia's heart, which was hanging in her throat, to fall into the abyss. The company she was fighting with over the shipment today also had the name Scarlet. What I had been running from before I did not need, where I could not need it. If it really was Michael's company, and I discovered that she was trying to steal from me, she would be dead. She had even said she wanted to make my company go bankrupt. Amelia pulled me back to lie down, tucking the blanket in. She put her slender arms around my waist. Sleep first. Think about these things tomorrow. Maybe things will get better. I hugged Amelia and fell asleep very peacefully, not thinking about this troubling matter anymore. Before long, I drifted off. Seeing that I had fallen asleep, Amelia quietly took my hand from her waist and carefully got out of bed. She tiptoed out of the bedroom, went into the study, and quietly closed the door. She didn't want to be so scared again to be on my bad side. Immediately, Amelia took out her phone and called Olivia. As soon as the other end picked up, Amelia asked with a hint of desperation, "What's the name of the company we're competing with for the shipment?" Scarlet, Olivia replied honestly. Hearing this name, Amelia felt like she was falling apart. She was so done for. She had actually provoked Michael. Quickly return that shipment. Give it to Scarlet for free. Olivia couldn't believe it. President Bennett, are you serious? She thought she must have misheard. She had just spent so much time and effort to get. Scarlet is Michael's company. I just found out about this today. After hearing what I was getting at, Olivia understood. I got you. She did the right thing after all. She had to act. Just get the product. Okay, no problem, was the first thing Olivia said that night. Oh, and one thing. Don't say nothing to anyone about this, you understand? It was like being next to Michael once more with that threatening tone. After getting to the door in what seemed like an eternity, Amelia was preparing to sleep, or so she thought. After turning around, there he was standing with some kind of smirk on his face. What did it mean? That thought made her feel so strange. There was always this fear, but now it was almost something completely real. I took my feelings into my eyes. Honey, why are you scared? My eyes felt like I was holding her for the first time. It had a sense of security, and the eyes seemed to calm the world as she knew it. There's no way you can be honest if you can't sleep by me, you understand? How? At that moment all she wanted to do was sleep in the safety of his arms. That feeling may as well have washed away as soon as the words were coming into the world, and it was not what she hoped to think about. Amelia's eyes became more clear than ever. There was never that she had thought she could be so scared. If only she didn't find him so amazing, perhaps she could live without seeing him again. Before she would see to it on her deathbed, she would make sure to see him. I sat down on the bed she had made for me, and was just the right side. I was able to live within what it could, and I'll be here if she needed me to be. I went and saw the world was what that meant for those around me as what my life could be. What you have to come is now all on your end. How? How? All I wanted to do now was to just be there for her. I had always taken from the world that was in front of me, but I was beginning to see this world was much different in her eyes.